The moment they placed the crown on my head, I felt her eyes burning into my back. Not my classmate's eyes, it was Casey's. I smiled robotically as the gymnasium erupted in applause that felt more like pity than celebration. The crown dug into my scalp like accusatory fingers searching for the truth buried in my skull. When I turned to wave at the crowd, something pulled my gaze toward the stage mirror. For 3 terrifying seconds, I swear what stared back at me wasn't my reflection. It was Casey, smirking knowingly. Her eyes were filled with that familiar contempt I'd seen the night she died. The music skipped, lights flickered, and she vanished. But her message lingered in the air. You stole my life, twin. My date Dylan squeezed my hand as we walked off stage. You okay, Cammy? You look like you've seen a ghost. If he only knew. I excused myself to the bathroom and had locked myself in a stall when an unknowing number buzzed my phone. It was a text that read, "Wish you were me instead?" My heart jumped in my mouth. It was a text Casey had sent some months back after we had a huge fight over Dylan, but Casey's phone had been disconnected after her death. I saw Mom cancel the plan myself. Then how could it? I hurriedly blocked the number and buried my face in my palms, but whoever it was wasn't done yet because my phone buzzed again. Love that crown? Let's see how long you can hold it. My hand shook so badly I dropped the phone. This had to be someone playing some sick prank. Probably Madison or Trent. They'd always been Team Casey. Everyone was. I recalled how things had been spiraling all week. First, Alicia, who'd organized my prom queen campaign, fell down the bleachers during assembly and broke her wrist in 2 places. She swore someone pushed her, but no one was near her. Then, Josh, who'd loudly joked that I only won because my twin sister died, violently vomited during lunch. Food poisoning, supposedly, though he'd eaten the same cafeteria slop as everyone else. I had been seeing Casey everywhere, her blue dress disappearing around corners, her laugh echoing in empty hallways, the coconut scent of her shampoo lingering in bathroom stalls. I remembered the last few moments I spent with my twin sister at the lake. It had been our special place since childhood. We celebrated victories and nursed defeats there. And on that cold October night, it became the place where I finally snapped. Casey had been unusually cruel that evening.
God, imagine if you'd been born first. You'd still be the second twin. Always the echo, never the sound.
I remember how angry I was when shoved her. I didn't want her to lose balance and stumble or slipped on the moss-covered rocks. I never knew her skull would crack against stone with a sound that would forever haunt my nightmares. But I had watched her body slide into the black water. I had watched ripples spread across the lake's surface until they disappeared. And I walked away. Suddenly, the loud music echoing from the gym pulled me back to reality. I'm not spending my prom in this filthy school washroom.
Get a grip, Cammy. You're just hallucinating.
I told myself, splashing water on my face. When I went back, the night was in full swing. The Queen's dance was already announced, and Dylan had been waiting for me. Hey! I was about to break into the bathroom had you taken a moment longer. He kissed my knuckles as he led me to the center of the floor. The DJ dimmed the lights as my classmates formed a circle around us. The first 30 seconds were bearable. Then the music warped like a dying battery. The speakers crackled with static before a voice cut through. It was unmistakably mine.
I didn't mean to kill her. I just wanted her to shut up. Just once. I wanted to win.
The recording from my therapy session with our school counselor, Mrs. Green, played clear as day through the speakers. Students gasped around me. Phone cameras appeared like weapons. Dylan's hands dropped from my waist as if I was contaminated. You killed your own sister? I collapsed to my knees, the crown rolling across the floor.
I didn't do it! I didn't do it!
Security rushed the stage. Teachers scrambled toward the sound booth. Through my tears, I caught a glimpse of Casey's blue dress moving in the crowd, the same dress she wore that night at the lake. When I looked again, whoever wore it had vanished. Principal Warner and 2 police officers kept me in the chemistry lab while they sorted things out. Miss Green paced the room, visibly shaken.
Those sessions are confidential.
She repeated.
The files are kept encrypted. Who would access it?
From the lab's window, I watched ambulances arrive for 2 students trampled in the panic. My classmates huddled in groups, phones out, undoubtedly sharing videos of my meltdown. An officer stepped outside to take a call. Through the cracked door, I overheard broken fragment. "Yeah, checking surveillance." "Nope, no sign of a break-in." That's when I saw her again. Not a flash or a glimpse. It was unmistakably her. Casey stood across the parking lot under a street lamp, wearing that blue dress, soaking wet. She raised her hand in a mocking wave, and suddenly, everything clicked. I understood what Miss Green had been trying to tell me all along. There was no ghost. There was no haunting. There was only me. Me with the therapy recordings I'd secretly copied weeks ago. Me who'd created the fake number. Me who'd staged the accidents. Because part of me died with Casey that night at the lake. That was the good part. What remained was dark and hollow that wanted everyone to know and understand the horror of my sins. I smiled at Casey's hallucination as the officer returned. "We found something," he said grimly. "A video on the school server, uploaded from your account." As my world collapsed around me, I heard Casey's voice whisper clearly in my ear.
Checkmate, loser.
She giggled, and so did I. The sound a neck makes when it breaks is not like in the movies. It's quieter, wetter, and subtle, but I didn't know it back then. I stood at prom in my strapless blue dress, my palms sweaty against the curtain roll. Not when 300 of my classmates were dancing and laughing and looking forward to the big reveal that the school and I had spent weeks planning for the prom night. Not until Mr. Levy tapped his fingers twice on his watch to signal that it was time. I should have figured immediately something wasn't right. It was 12 seconds early, but I pulled away, letting the curtain fall. Eerie silence took over for a heartbeat before the chaos ensued. Horrified screams reverberated. People ran, literally pushing and crushing each other. My heart had dropped into my stomach. Before 300 pairs of eyes, Mr. Gaines, our janitor, was dangling from the metal ropes. His neck was stretched impossibly long, the skin split in places where the rope had cut deep. Blood oozed from the fatal wound and his bloated face was mottled purple-black. "Nobody moves!" Principal Weston's voice boomed immediately. Mr. Levy grabbed my arm. "When did you check last behind the curtain?"
20 minutes ago? I swear it was empty.
I stammered, still tasting bile. "Tell them exactly that," he demanded, walking away. When the cops interrogated me, I lied. I didn't tell them how I caught Mr. Levy and Gaines arguing 2 days back in the auditorium. Levy was threatening the school janitor. "You're sticking your nose where it doesn't belong, Gaines." Mr. Gaines retorted, "Kids deserve to know who's teaching them." But I kept it all in because I had no idea what they were talking about. That night, I dreamt of Gaines's bulging eyes, watching me from the ceiling of my bedroom, as if urging me to speak his part of the story. The next morning, I had to dig deeper. I found Gaines's safety account where he'd anonymously posted about school hazards. The stuff was boring, stupid complaints about malfunctions and all. Amidst the pile, I found a photo that seems to be taken secretly. It was a blurry silhouette of a man pressing a girl against the costume rack. The faces weren't clear, but that distinctive blue and gold tie on that man was unmistakable. It was Mr. Levy's tie, the one he wore every day at school religiously. My hands trembled as I printed the photo. So that means our janitor found out what a monster Mr. Levy is. No more safeguarding a predator like him, I thought. That day, I slipped the photo into our principal's mailbox. The whole day I was both relieved and proud. I thought I had done my part and it was over. Seemingly, it wasn't, because as soon as the night fell, a soft tapping at my window jolted me up. I didn't see anyone, but there was a red envelope by the windowsill. The note inside read, "Thanks for your performance." Next second, a notification lit up my phone. Our school drama club's YouTube channel had posted a video with the same title as the note. The footage was grainy, nightmarish, but visible enough. Mr. Gaines was being dragged across the stage, his head lolling unnaturally, leaving a thick smear of black. His fingers twitched. God, he was still alive when this was filmed. The screen went black for a couple of seconds before it zoomed in on a petite silhouette, unmistakably wearing our drama club's tragedy mask. I froze. The realization had hit like a physical blow. It was Eliza Inn, my best friend since sophomore year. All those late nights, working on the set. How she always stayed behind with Levy for extra help. The way she defended him when rumors started. It suddenly started making horrifying sense. My phone slipped from my shaking fingers as pieces clicked into place. I couldn't breathe, couldn't think. I picked up my phone again and called her. She answered on the first ring, like she'd been waiting.
It was you.
I choked out. She sighed into the phone.
Took you long enough.
Eliza continued with unnerving calmness.
Gain was going to ruin my Levi. How could I let that happen? I love him, Jess. He makes me feel seen. You wouldn't understand.
The way she said it so casually, like we were discussing weekend plans, made my skin crawl. She inhaled sharply before narrating in great detail how she had to shut up Mr. Gaines. I heard the madness, frozen and horrified. How had I never noticed before? This wasn't my friend.
I'm calling the police. I have the photo of you and Levi.
I breathed, shivering like a leaf. Eliza giggled.
And who would they catch, Jess? Levi has left. I'm leaving too. What do you mean? Check your mailbox. I left you something to remember me by.
I crept outside, checking over my shoulder with every step as I approached the mailbox. Inside was a small USB drive, a Polaroid photo of my grandparents' house, and a handwritten script titled Act 2, The Hero Falls.
I know where they all live.
She whispered into the phone. My blood ran cold.
What do you want?
I whispered.
Forget me or Levi. Stay away.
And then she disconnected the call. I ran back inside and straight to my window, heart threatening to burst from my chest. The street looked empty, but then something moved in the shadows of the oak tree across from my house. A white mask caught the moonlight for just a second before disappearing. I haven't slept in 3 days because I know she's out there, watching, waiting. I can't go to the cops because I am afraid this crazy teacher-student couple will hurt my family. I don't know if there's anything more I can do to bring justice to Mr. Gaines. I can still taste the copper in my mouth from when I bit my tongue that day. The words, "I barely know you," had tumbled out before I could stop them, leaving Colin standing there, face twisted and hurt in front of hundreds of our classmates. I never meant to embarrass him like that, but his proposal came out of nowhere. The truth was, I really didn't know him. He was just that quiet kid from chemistry who'd barely spoken 10 words to me before deciding to flash a giant "Prom, Amber" sign during the middle of the inter-school soccer match. Colin didn't go crazy at the rejection. He didn't cry or yell or hurl his flash mob at me. He simply turned around and walked away, shoulders hunched, but back rigid with dignity. I should have gone after him, told him it wasn't personal. Instead, I laughed with everyone else and continued enjoying the game. After all, it was supposed to be just another cringy high school moment that would fade like a minor bruise. I had no idea it was only the beginning of my worst nightmare. The first note appeared exactly 7 days later, folded neatly inside my calculus textbook. "See you at prom. I'll be ready." It read in barely legible handwriting that had sent a chill down my spine. I showed it to Caitlin and Maya during lunch. Both of them froze before brushing it off like it was a minor inconvenience.
Looks like someone can take a hint.
Caitlin snorted.
Whatever. Just a loser being weird.
Maya shrugged. But then came the texts. All of our phones chimed simultaneously during history class, drawing annoyed looks from Mr. Harrison. The message made my blood run cold. Pretty girls always dance before they fall. The school administration hauled Colin into the office immediately after we reported him. Jordan, from student council, told me Colin just sat there with a blank face, denying everything. They couldn't pin him due to the lack of evidence. It wasn't his handwriting or phone number, so he was let off with just a warning. That night, I double-checked every lock in our house before going to bed. Nothing happened, and as another week passed without incident, we started to believe it was over. We couldn't be more wrong. Caitlin called me, sobbing 2 days before prom. Someone had slashed all 4 of her tires in the school parking lot. That same evening, Maya found her expensive prom dress cut to shreds on her bed. The fabric was scattered like rose petals across her comforter.
It's Colin.
She whispered, shivering like a leaf.
The psychopath's plotting a payback. Nancy told me the guys had fun with him in the bathroom.
I stopped sleeping through the night, started checking under my bed like I was 8 years old again. My parents dismissed my concerns when I begged for a new lock on my bedroom door.
It's just school drama, Amber.
Mom brushed it off.
It'll pass before graduation.
But it only escalated. Notes appeared everywhere. In my locker, my backpack, even taped to my car windshield. Texts arrived from unknown numbers at all hours, getting creepier by the second. Make sure the dress is red. It hides blood best. Some of them read. I began feeling eyes on me everywhere I went, lingering in the hallways, watching from across the parking lot, and most terrifyingly, through my window at night. The school installed additional security cameras and hired extra guards for prom night upon our insistence. The first hour was smooth. The gym looked spectacular with its twinkling lights and elegant decorations, but everyone was on edge, scanning the crowd. Colin wasn't there. For a little while, I felt relieved as we twerked and bounced and had fun. But then, the fire alarms blared, lights cutting out completely a second later. Then, the fog machines roared to life, pumping out thick clouds that burned my throat and stung my eyes. Someone grabbed my wrist in the darkness. I screamed before realizing it was just Caitlin.
We need to get out now.
She yelled over the deafening alarm. That's when the firecrackers started exploding under tables, one at a time, as genuine panic swept through the crowd. Everyone pushed desperately toward the exits. I lost my friends in the stampede. I was pinned against the wall when I felt something wet splatter my arms. Looking up, I saw crimson letters dripping down like blood on the wall before me. It was never about the dance. My lungs seized up as panic took over completely. Someone dragged me outside into the chaos of flashing lights, screaming parents, and crying students. Then, the devastating news spread through the crowd. Colin had a perfect alibi because he had been streaming games online all night. If Colin was innocent, then who was responsible for all this? 2 days later, they found a mask in the girls' locker room, along with Maya's destroyed phone and a burner. The police traced the SIM card to its source. It was Janelle, Colin's freshman sister. I'd barely noticed her before. She was just another shy girl who ate lunch alone in the library corner, much like her brother. They arrested her at home. Her bedroom was pure nightmare fuel. School newspaper clippings, photographs of me and my friends with our eyes scratched out, and a detailed timeline on a whiteboard. My name was circled in red, over and over and over. When they put her in handcuffs, she didn't resist, just giggled like she had expected it.
They wounded my brother and thought they could walk away scratch-free.
She told the officers calmly. She was sent to a psychiatric facility, so she can get well and start all over. Honestly, I'd put it behind too. Until this morning, I opened my locker and found a neatly folded note inside.
You never danced, so I guess you can keep your legs.
I haven't told anyone about the note. Who would believe me? Janelle is locked up. It couldn't possibly be her. But right now, sitting in my bedroom with every light blazing, I can't shake the feeling that someone is watching me, and it's giving me anxiety.